Yes, welcome back fellas to 2021. Hope Christmas and New Year's has been treating you well. This week's Daily Race C lap guide is Interlagos with the Hyundai Genesis. Pretty handy car this one, very similar to the GTR. You can just rev it out. We're running brake bias rear 2 for this particular lap. Finding time at Interlagos is all about maximizing the track width and using as much curb as you can. As you'll see on the screen now, we're going to use all of it and some, just marginally staying on the track, and a fairly hefty cut in here as well. So as I was saying before, brake balance rear 2 for this particular lap. Haven't really had a chance to play around with the brake balance yet. But without further ado, let's jump on board and make our way down to turn 1. So braking around the 60-70 meter mark here, it's going to be a decent threshold section. Yeah, spot on, looks about 60 to me. It's going to be a nice long trail braking section, really trying to keep the car over to the left hand side. Your best lap time is going to be when we open up turn 2. A nice little lift here as we jump the curb. Wide open throttle will unsettle the car. Now we're going to hug the left hand curb as best as possible. Once you see the straight come into view, we can start relaxing on the wheel now. Let it straighten. Trying to carry as much speed down to the straight as always. At the end of the straight, we're looking for the 100 board and the little piece of concrete. Anywhere in here should give you enough time to modulate the brake for the entry. So the 100 board on your right hand side, just shooting under the bonnet, there is the concrete after it. Anywhere in there is fairly decent brake marker. We're going to hold third, a little bit of crack throttle here, trying to maintain apex speed, and wide open shortly thereafter on the exit. This bad boy here is flat out, don't worry about that. We are going to hold to the left, trying to minimize the distance down to the next corner. So shortly before the 50 board, we're going to stab on the brakes and try and move some weight forward, then straight off the brakes, drop 2 gears. In third, we're going to try and hold as much part throttle as we can, come back and collect that curb on the right now, using all this curb, straighten the wheel and jam on the anchors as we try and wipe off as much speed. A couple of downshifts and a nice little trail section to swing the rear around. Part throttle to push yourself out of there. Try and squeeze in a little bit of wide open. There's a bit of a coast in the middle of this one to let the nose come back to the car, and just slowly squeeze on that throttle using all the curb on the exit. Once again, we're going to straighten the wheel while we decelerate heavily, then into some plenty of part braking, just using first to help rotate the rear, up into second to drive out, trying to get back to the right a little bit. It's not the most important. A little bit of a lift in third here, but then push it all the way down to the outside curb. Get the car nice and straight. We're going to wipe off a lot of speed now. Probably sitting at the 75, 85 meter mark here for your braking. We're going to drop 2 gears down into second. Try and roll it over this inside curb. It'll settle nicely on the exit with some part throttle. Nice little jab, short shift up into 3. The Hyundai does slam into the limiter there pretty quickly, so you want to move up through the gear. A few runs at that and you'll see what I mean. So now we'll run through a little bit quicker in chase mode with all the brakes pointed out again. So yeah, we'll say 70 meters, perfect. Threshold braking, staying to the right hand side of the road, releasing the brakes to allow the car to turn, but we want to keep as far left as possible. Lift as we jump the curb. Now hug this left hand curb as best you can. Start to release the wheel as we come to the straight. Now we're looking for the 100 board and the concrete on the right hand side. We're going to drop 2 gears down into here. And as we release the brake, start to turn in gently. A nice little bit of trail brake. Keep some weight on the front tyres so they turn in for you. And crack some throttle and drive out of there. Step on the brake. drop to 4, 3, try hold part throttle, collect both curbs, use all the curbs on the exit, straighten the car and try and decelerate as quick as possible. Using first just to rotate the rear, didn't find it necessary in this part. Always try and keep the throttle open as well, that'll help carry that speed. First rotate the car at the last minute, plenty of part throttle to push out in second, slightest lift to hold the left curb, push fourth all the way out, try and touch that curb on the right hand side, braking around the 85 meter mark. We're going to drop 2 gears, roll over this last curb, and we want to be wide open throttle pretty much as that rear wheel lands off that curb to give us the longest wide open throttle to the finish line. We're just going to hold the left hand side of the track, shortest run to the line this is, so start the lap on the right, finish the lap on the left, and that is probably worth half a tenth or something, or maybe less, but every little bit counts and it'll help you on your daily race C. So we'll run through the fast mode, trying to pick out all the important bits. 100 meter board on the right hand side, be careful not to hug the line on the right too much, the end of that straight narrows. Try and just get your right wheels to graze on the curb on the right hand side as we exit, cut that left curb, little jab on the brake, drop a gear, pick up third as we try and touch the curb, hold part throttle, wide open and all the curb on the exit, straighten the wheel, try and decelerate as much as possible before we throw it in there. Similar technique with a little bit of a coast in the middle, helps the front pull itself around. Just, you'll see the little straightening of the steering wheel every time we get that threshold braking. That's just trying to help decelerate the car as best we can. Little lift in the middle here just helps you, and then drop 2 gears, try and roll through, start squeezing that throttle as you're landing off that last curb. We don't want to touch this curb on the left hand side, it just unsettles the car a touch. Group 4 you can touch it, Group 3s it sort of just knocks a little bit of momentum out of it. And there we go, so on board for some bumper cam for the bumper cam players. The strategy this week, if you find yourself in the top half of the field and it looks like you've got a weak competition, I'd go mediums to softs, 6 or 7 mediums, then swap over to softs. If you think it's going to be a little bit tighter, it might be a touch more advantageous to start on the softs and finish on the medium. Just play with that, see how you go. If we get any more brake balance advice, I'll let you know. Any blokes that watch a fair few of my videos know that I like it mostly rearward most of the time. Simcator's still on hiatus, but we might get a little card up there. Drop in and check that out. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, fellas, and I will see you out on the track. Good luck.